Okay, folks, section 11.6, making predictions. That's what I love about probability. It's almost like predicting the future. You know, it's not always true. It's not guaranteed true. But we can see over time and over experience that these things will work out for us. Okay? Example number 1 says, you can predict the number of times an event will occur by multiplying its probability by the total number of trials. Now here's what that means. Just before I write anything up here, what's the probability if I flip a coin, right? If I flip a coin, what's the probability that I'm going to get heads? Now let's go with tails. Sam, what's the probability that I'm going to get tails? 1/2. 1 out of 2. What if, Sam, I flip a coin 324 times? How many times would I expect it to come up tails? It's not guaranteed, but what do you think?
178.
Half of 300. 172 would be 344. 162 would be 324. No, I'm sorry. What did we say? 162? Okay. Do you see that we took the probability and we multiply it by the times that we flip it, by the time of experiments, right? How many experiments did we do? 324. So we multiply that by the probability, and it gives us our answer. Now this is just a little example that we just made up, and I'm about to erase it. Okay? But Sam just said, look, it's about half the time. So if we flip it 324, half of them are going to land on tails. About. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to erase this, and let's look at this example. Okay? This example says 3 coins are to be tossed 200 times. Predict how many times all 3 coins will be heads. And then B says predict how many times 2 tails and 1 heads will occur. Okay, well, let's go back to our tree diagram. First coin, second coin, third coin. Okay? The first coin can be heads or tails. The second coin can be heads or tails, so I need to do it for both results from the first one. Right? We remember doing this. What do I do now, Elise? I have to do another one for the third coin, right? So now, heads and tails. Heads and tails. Heads and tails. Heads, and tails. Okay.
Do you have to do it?
Well, I do because I need to see how many times I'm going to get 2 heads and 1 tail, right? So on the first one, it's heads, heads, heads. On the second one, it's heads, heads, tails. On the next one, it's heads, tails, heads. And then the fourth one, heads, tails, tails. On the fifth one, it's tails, heads, heads. On the sixth one, it's tails, heads, tails. On the seventh one, it's tails, tails, heads. And then on the last one, it's tails, tails, tails. All right. Now let's go back up. For A, what's the probability that all 3 coins are going to be heads? I'm not going to be able to finish this example in this one video. I'll have to do another one. But Sarah Kay, what's the probability that all 3 are going to be heads? 1/8. So that's our probability. Okay? And then when we come back in the next video, we're going to do that experiment 200 times. It'll show us how many times we're going to get 3 heads. All right? Good job. I'll see you at the next video.